Some great comics right here. Let's jump right into them. We're going to start off with Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos. Later, you would know him as Nick Fury. But this is number 124. Going all the way back 1975. I'm going to show you the front cover. Obviously, some issues on there. Some creasing, some bending. Stuff that can be pressed out, but for the most part, this is a reader copy. We're going to show you the back as well. And we'll shine the light on it so you can get that wiggle jiggle effect. All the light will get in those nooks and crannies and you can see everything. Oh boy, it looks like there's a little bit of, some water damage there. You can probably see that in the staples. Some rusting on the staples as well as that water damage in there. So be aware of that as we move on to Captain Savage and his Leatherneck Raiders number 2. Another older book right here, going all the way back to 1968. This one has seen some better days as well. These military comics back in the day, the kids would take them with them to school. They'd run out and they'd have their own adventures. Sometimes they'd fold them and put them in their back pocket. Something that you would never think of doing today. But back then, it was just a fun little read. So you see some discoloration both on the pages and on that back cover. Quite a bit of issues on the front cover, but to get something, anything, for a decent price from 1968 anymore has become very difficult. So that condition is fairly decent for a book of that age. We're moving on to the Invaders from Marvel Comics. This is number 9, 1976. You see that dog ear right there. The condition issue on that front cover on the bottom right hand. I want you to be aware of that. Oh, somebody has written on it right there. So again, this is not one you're going to be sending in to get graded. However, if you're missing this from your collection and you just want to complete that story arc, here's a great way to do it. I'll show you quality and condition of the pages on the inside as we move on to number 4. This is from just a little bit earlier in 1976. We'll shine the light on it, go nice wiggle jiggle on that light so you can see all those nooks and crannies, each one being a little bit of wrinkle. We're not going to catalog every single issue with this because they are numerous and we'll be here a while. We try to save your time on this and that's why we go through as quick as we can. See some staple rusting right there, some ink mark on that. Let's see how far it goes. Ooh, it just keeps growing. Pretty much through the entire book. Yep, all the way to the back cover. So be aware of that. Again, if you're just planning on reading it, you might get a good bargain on this. But it's not one I would certainly send in to get graded. However, we don't tell you how to collect. You collect what you like to do. You do with these books what you want to do. We'll show you the interiors of the comic books. And again, we don't want to waste your time with these videos, so we go through as quick as we can, but they are recorded in 8K. By the time they get to you, they're probably downscaled to about 1080p. Still plenty of room to zoom in, pause, rewind, go back, and look at all these little nooks and crannies to see if this is something that you want. Obviously, we would love to have you here in the gallery with us to look these over. A little bit of ink on that one, too, so I don't know. I don't know what was going on with this consigner back in the day, but got to get better pens. We'll see the back cover. And we have the photos also at the gallery at TheBigToyAuction.com. In the catalog, you can go and look at them there. We take high-def photos, so you can... The next best thing to being with us here and seeing these for yourself. We're going to move on to something a lot more modern. At least relatively. This is Doctor Strange from 1992. Still 30 years ago, but much more modern than the previous ones. This is looking pretty good on the front cover. By that point, they were using a much glossier stock, much better color separation, so you can see the difference in quality. This is number 48. A few little spine ticks there, as you can see. Again, because they were using a different kind of paper, it's harder to tell, but I want to show you some spots that aren't inked, just so you can see the quality and condition of that paper. As we move on to the Incredible Hulk, number 103. I believe this is a very, very minor key. This is from 1968. Yeah, that Space Parasite first appearance. Do many people care? No, but it's a good way to get a very minor key and have it in your collection compared to some of the prices that have been going on right now. It might be a good way to get it in a lower condition rather than wait for a slabbed copy. You can see the issues there on the spine, on the staples, and of course we showed you that front cover. It's got quite a few nooks and crannies going on. We'll show you the same on the back. We'll find some uninked portions right here so you can see the quality and condition of those papers. Before we move past the Space Parasite onto Spider-Man Classics. This is number 1 in that series, going again all the way back to 1993. You can see it in the quality and condition of this book. It is much better condition than some of the more loved, more well-read copies. Looking pretty shiny there. We're not seeing a whole lot of damage anywhere. We're not seeing much wear to the back cover or the front cover. You'll have that normal stress on the spines like you might expect, but I'm not seeing any major creasing or tears or anything like that. The color inside looks real nice and bright. Everything seems to be pretty tight on this one. So all around a nice specimen of this, and a number 1 to boot. So some good stuff right there. We're moving on to the Inhumans. This is number 2. From 1975. So if you worked hard to find a copy of number 1 years ago just to have that number 1 and you haven't been able to complete the story, well, here you go. Now you get another one and start you on your journey. You can see some rough wear around the edges and at the corners, but all in all, not a bad copy. Certainly a great reader copy. One to fill that hole in your collection. Sometimes it's easy to spot number 1 because they were overprinted, overproduced, and then number 2 just falls off the radar. Those G.I. Joe collectors out there, you know that. You know how tough it is to find a number 2. Sometimes it ends up going for quite a bit more than number 1. And finally, we're going to finish this run out here with Adventure Comics number 441, going all the way back to 1975. We think of Adventure Comics as having Superman, but we forget there were other issues, including Aquaman right here. Yeah, some wear and tear on there. A little bit of roughness to that cover, but all around a nice, readable copy. The end of a story arc right there, I believe. So it's a good way to pick that up and find out what happened. The back's not looking bad at all. A lot of shininess, some little roughness right there on that corner, but you'd expect that. Of course, we encourage you to go back and look at all these photos, either in the catalog where we've taken still photos, or rewind, zoom in, pause, do what you need to do to see any little flaws on this in your videos. That's going to do it for these. Head on over to TheBigToyAuction.com. You can see these comic books and lots others. Right now, they are ready for pre-bidding. You can leave those pre-bids right now or join us live on auction day, whichever way you choose to do it. We look forward to seeing you at the auction.